Hi y'all, welcome back. And this garden space is my parents. I'm helping them design an edible garden for them. My name is Kristen. I run Tutti Frutti's farm. It is on hiatus from commercial production while I look for land. And I am really enjoying the process of being able to film so that I can help other people grow their own food as y'all follow along with what I'm doing out here for my parents. And hopefully it is helpful. Please ask any questions that you have or comment on something, like if you're doing something different that was helpful for you, and so we can learn from each other. That would be really awesome. Okay, I'm going to black tarp the area where the flower bed is going to go, and it's probably going to be next year because it takes a really long time to kill all this grass. And even looking at where the black tarps were all season last year, it's like, oh, grass is coming up too, even though I cover crop that area as well. So it's just relentless. It's going to take time to kill all these weeds, even though I'm actually kind of disappointed. I'm not liking that. But anyways, I'm going to black tarp the area. We're not going to till the where the flower bed is, and it's just going to be black tarped probably all season, like I said, to kill the area, so then next year it'll be all ready to plant. So I'm going to time it and let y'all know how long that task takes. That's all I'm doing out here today. But actually, no, I take that back. I'm going to add some compost to the garlic. So garlic is a heavy feeder. Compost only lasts for so long. It's been, overwintered, and now it needs some more nutrients. So I'm going to post on the garlic and give it some more food. Okay, welcome back, and let's do a recap. Okay, for anyone that has just started watching, thank you. So we're out here. I'm helping my parents design a garden in Minnesota. We're zone 5A, and we're gonna have perennial beds. There's garlic already planted, and then we're gonna have annual beds, and then we're gonna have a flower bed. So year number one, they were observers. They were observers of where the sun was, where the water was, how it sloped. Is there a slope? Does this get any shade? Where is it going to be accessible for them? Where is it in terms of everything else on their property? So they wanted to make sure, when you pick your garden spot out, you want to know all those things first. I read a book, a permaculture book, that said year one is you're just an observer. Year two, you do the design. And especially this is for if you have multiple seasons, if you actually have a winter and you actually have a spring and summer and fall, distinction between the seasons. So here there are definitely distinctions between the seasons. And so yes, year one, you're the observer. There's a robin up there. Year two, then you start doing the design, like what do you want, what do you foresee the space being, and we mapped the area out, and then we put tarps because we want to have a weed-free area. So that was a whole year. Now we're in year three, actually. So year three is we're going to start doing the planting, and then year four we're going to finish the planting, because all the tarped area, which is the whole parameter, is going to be garden. See, all the tarped area, this is going to be garden as well, but we didn't do the ditch until this spring, the really big ditch, because I decided that it would be better to have the flowers inside the garden instead of outside the fencing. So we were going to do the fencing and then have the fencing and then have the flowers, and then they would just be out in the open, the flowers. And I was like, you know what, actually it's not a good idea. we'll just have all the flowers and everything inside, but we got to move the fencing now out here. We did the ditch to get rid of the crackgrass because it takes 80 to 90% of the nutrients in the soil up, and we don't want to use any chemicals because we're being organic. Practice mindful of anything that goes in the soil. It's going to leach into your food, and so that's why we want to practice organic and no chemicals. And so because you could use a weed killer or something, people have done flame torches for weeds, but this has rhizomes and it grows underneath the soil, and so it just, you can tarp it and then remove the tarps and it comes back. You can tarp it, remove the tarps, and it comes back. Or you can till and it just comes back. So I watched a video and this lady did a trench, and she said she has never had a problem with quackgrass since she did the trench for her garden. So we're following that and we're being organic. Okay, and then the cover crop here is because in regenerative practices, they say never leave the ground, the soil, open. Like, never have it have a function, because it's active, it's alive, it needs to be doing something, it needs to be working, it needs to be feeding itself and growing microorganisms and growing fungal matter that are all spread out behind me in this whole area. We can't see all the microorganisms and the beneficial fungi, but it's there, and it has to have something or else it dies. And so that's why you always want to have something living soil, right? It's called living soil. And so the cover crop is the living soil. Also, cover crop is going to help with build the nitrogen, and it's also going to help with compaction. There's any like hard spaces like that, it's hard to get down in there. For root crops, for example, we're not going to have a harder time if we have the daikon radish is back there, and it's going to be going down into the soil, and so breaking up and hopefully helping with that compaction, because there are rough spots in the soil. So you want to dig in your soil. I broke up the soil and I did the cover crop, and when I broke up the soil, I noticed the parts that were really hard. I also noticed the slope and where we're going to have that. So right now though, what we're doing is we're going to do beds, 2 raised beds, one's for blueberries and one's for asparagus. They're going to share the bed though, and we're going to do a partition. I do not like raised beds because that breaks off the whole spectrum of beneficial microbes and fungal matter that would be really helping out everything else that's growing in your garden. So me personally, I would never do a raised bed, but the reason that we're doing that for these is we're gonna control the pH for the blueberries, and so we want a separate area just for the blueberries, and then asparagus loves to take off, so we're making sure that it's confined in a space and it doesn't take off and take over other areas. It's just a little easier maybe, but again, we are laying those just out on top of the soil, putting some compost down, and we're going to use the soil that is here. The boxes are really just a parameter so that, again, we can control the pH and control where the asparagus goes. And the thing about boxes, I know people are loving them right now, and I love that people are growing more and more. I see that, and that's totally awesome. But if you want to think about growing your soil and having really healthy soil, that it's going to, not just in the space that you're growing, but everywhere else. See how this is all open? This whole area is a living organism. And if you feed only one section say if I had a box and I just fed one little section, that's not going to be feeding the rest of my area. And the rest of my area is not going to help feed that one little box, right? So that's why it would be, well, I would think maybe regenerative. So if we're thinking about regenerative practices, you want to always be building the soil. Organic says that too, but really organic to me, and everyone has their different variations. So organic to me is being mindful of no chemicals, nothing that is going to be harmful ingredients going into the soil, which then will permeate into the soil, which then will go into the plants, and then will go into the food when we eat it. So like when we put the cardboard down, I made sure that there was no stickers. All the cardboard, it doesn't have any it doesn't have any substance on it where, what is that called? Like wax boxes. It's not a wax box. It's just regular cardboard, no tape, no stickers, and it's only black dye, no colored cardboard, no colored dye. And so that's organic to me, is making sure of that what goes in and what your plants are feeding from is of natural ingredients. And I know natural is just like not a thing anymore, because when they say natural flavors in our food, it actually is MSG. So, you know, it's like totally skewed what I mean by that, but I hope y'all know what I mean by that. It's just nothing synthetic and no chemicals, no dyes. So that's what is up. And then the fencing will go up, and then we will get started with the planting. A lot to do, and so we're gonna get to it right now. Okay, y'all, so I picked up some trees at Tractor Supply. I don't know if, I've never tried this before, but there's an elderberry. There is 2 figs, actually 2 of these, and one, let's see if I can grab it. Goji berry. So I have never grown any of these before, but they are great for the zone. And I looked up the company before online to look at reviews, and came back that they had good reviews. It's non-GMO, and so we'll see. DeGroot is the company, in case y'all are wondering. And I'm gonna pick up some compost at the Ramsey County compost site here. Gonna go home and plant them in pots. I just watched a video with Joel Salinger, the Farm Like a Lunatic guy. Do y'all know him? I'll put the link down in the description of the video, but he talks about if you're gonna grow things, not necessarily these, but he said fruit trees, so I'm thinking the figs, and I'm just gonna do the other 2, the elderberry and the goji berry as well, in pots this year. And I also read about how it's best to have things in pots for 1 year at least, outside in the garden. It will be in the garden space, but it won't be planted in the garden until next year. So they will come inside over winter in the pots and then planted outside next year. And what Joel said is that what you do though the first year is you dig out where you're going to plant the tree the following year, because you want to make sure that that is a soil that the tree is going to like and it's going to be nourishing for it. And so you put a lot of wood chips and compost in where you would plant the tree this year, but we're doing it next year. So I'm going to try that. One, to have the trees be acclimated and the bushes be acclimated to the climate, even though it says it's great for our zone. But just in case, and we're going to bring them indoors over winter, and then we're going to dig out around and have the compost, and I'm going to put manure in there too. We've got manure, compost, and wood chips all in the area that we're going to dig out for the trees. And then next year they're going to be planted in that spot. So I really like this idea. A lot of things with growing, it's like, oh my gosh, why does this have to take so long, you know? But if the end result is that the tree is going to be happier and it's going to grow and it's going to produce better, then it's totally worth it. And so again, I'm just going to try it. I'll keep y'all posted. The fig, the elderberry, the goji berry, and I'm getting compost. We've got 3 down. My little car. I love this car. 3 down. We've got 1 more to go. And this is bringing me back to when I first started designing gardens, because I would come out here and pick up loads and loads of compost for my clients. And back then though, I made a mistake and I did not test the compost beforehand, and that was my neglectfulness. So that's why I say now, just test it before you use it. And we tested this, it did work, so that's why we're using it. I mean, even if it's free, you don't want to put your time and energy into something and it not turn out right. We are using this because I live in Ramsey County. The garden is not, but I'm going to be taking care of these trees. We're not taking a lot from this spot because I do think that it would be wrong to take a lot from here when my parents are in a different county. But since I am in Ramsey County and I am taking care of these trees because they're not going to be planted this year, then I feel like that's okay. And yes, I'm digging this with my hand. So I also just wanted to mention, because I was thinking about it, how awesome it is that people go and they take their food scraps to that compost site. So I just gotta say, like, thank you all to whoever is coming out and doing that. And that's really gracious of you that you're taking your time to committing to giving back. You know, you're giving back and I'm benefiting from it right now with the compost. And so anyways, super cool, and thank you. All right, hi y'all, out here, and this is all the winter cover crop coming up, which is really awesome. I want to give credit to my parents who have done some amazing work. We did not get compost from the sites that we were going to. The one out here, 316 Rock, when I did the soil test with the peas, that one did not do well at all, that compost, which was yard waste and food waste. And so my parents got some compost that is actually, it's organic. And that was, I can't remember the name of the place. I'll have to ask my mama again and put it down in the notes for y'all. But it was in Rosemount, Minnesota. And so we are out here broadforking, where the asparagus box is, the rest of those will go. Totally forgot about having to Broadfork, and that's to aerate the soil so oxygen gets into the plants, into the soil, which you want to do, but you don't want to till. We're going to go into that here. So, but this is one of the boxes. We're going to have 4 of those. Smaller areas for the asparagus, and then the larger area here for blueberries. We can control the pH in the box, and that's why we did that for the blueberries. And then for the asparagus, we don't want it to go just everywhere because the asparagus will take over, and so that's why it's in a box. But we've got 4 of those, and I wanted to aerate the soil before we put out the box, and then I forgot, so I'm doing that now. And then we're going to remove the cardboard here, and I'm going to Broadfork here, and that's where the strawberries will go. And we'll put compost down for that. Do Broadforking, aerate the soil so we get that oxygen flowing, so we'll have healthy plants. And we don't want to till because that is going to kill the microbial health and the fungal matter, which we need both of those in order to have healthy plants. And we're going to have dense, nutrient-dense crops. I say crops because I have a background in farming, but produce that we're growing out here. And so let's do it. Oh, and the whole idea behind this, I'll tell y'all, is so we want to build the soil health, and that's regenerative farming. And that is also why I did the winter cover crop, because we're building the soil health and we're not tilling, and that's part of building the soil health. And that's all regenerative agriculture. So if you see something that's regenerative ag, that means they're like taking care of the soil first. And that also means no chemicals. So organic and regenerative go hand in hand, because you can't use chemicals and be regenerative, because that's totally, the chemicals negate the regenerative, right? So if you ever read something that says regenerative, or you're looking up farms, you want to support a farmer, they are regenerative but they're not organic, well, they're one and the same. You can also ask them, what are your organic practices? Maybe they're not certified organic, which is, to me, is totally fine, because that is a USDA standard, and it is not even, all of what they deem is organic. You could do even more. Like regenerative stuff is not deemed under their organic standards. So that's why I'm saying you can do even more if you don't have that certification. And you can be also certified organic and a regenerative grower as well. You can have the certification, and you can say that you're regenerative agriculture practices. But I would really look for regenerative ag or ask, because that is going to be more nutrient dense than just organic. And why is that? It's because it has more microbial health. The fungal matter is going to be bringing nutrients all across your area. And that's why I don't like raised beds, because raised beds break off certain sections, and the nutrients is not getting to all these other places, because you're cutting off that area where something grows, but you're also cutting off where it gets its nutrients from. So I'm not a fan of raised beds. We do have raised beds here, but I don't like raised beds because you're not using the whole area to bring nutrients to your plants, and your plants are going to help each other out, and they're going to move through the fungal matter, move all these nutrients that one plant needs to another plant. Okay? So through the soil. And the microbial health will really help build the soil in terms of it's going to give back, it's going to feed back the soil through its fungal matter, and it's going to bring back nutrients to the plants. And your plants will then be healthier, which means that they will have nutrition, higher nutrition value, which means what you're eating will have higher nutrition value. And organic doesn't necessarily mean that it has higher nutrition value. It just means that you're not using chemicals. But it doesn't mean that you're adding back nutrients to the soil. And we're adding back nutrients to the soil here because we're using compost, because we're doing winter cover crop, and because we're not tilling, and we're using this Broadfork here today, and that's what we're gonna do. So let's do it. Any questions, please ask. Thanks for watching, everyone. Much more to come. We'll see y'all then. Like, subscribe, and follow. And thanks again for watching.